Texas is now experiencing an outbreak of measles, and so is the Netherlands, and religion has a lot to do with it. It turns out that specifically in the Netherlands, where Orthodox Protestants live, they are refusing to vaccinate their children to prevent them from getting measles, and as a result, they are getting measles. Let me give you a few of the numbers that really shocked me when I read it, because you don't think of the Netherlands as a place where you have extreme religious individuals, but it exists. About 1,200 people have been sickened by measles, and 82 of them have ended up in the hospital as a result of people not vaccinating their children against measles. And again, the same thing is happening in Texas. In fact, there was one evangelical preacher who was saying, you know what, it's in God's hands, do not vaccinate your kids, and as a result 21 children got very, very sick with measles. So he took everything back. He didn't want to indoctrinate people anymore because he realized what he was doing was very destructive. But you're seeing this happen in the Bible Belt. You're seeing this happen in the most religious places in the world, and it's destructive and it's scary. Measles is so contagious that 90% of the unvaccinated people who are exposed to it will get sick.
So here's what I don't understand about vaccinations, okay? So people get upset that some people don't vaccinate their kids because then there's going to be a measles outbreak. Well, if your kid's vaccinated, aren't you protected? Like, so if you vaccinate your kid, you're going to be protected from measles. So it's only the kids who aren't vaccinated.
I know, but also, I mean,
right?
You worry about those children because they have extremely ignorant parents that are putting their children's lives in danger because they truly do not believe that they need to get their kids vaccinated. They think that it's in the hands of God. You don't need to rely on science or medicine, rely on religion. It's the same thing when a child develops cancer and the parent refuses to put the child through chemo or whatever type of treatment he or she needs, and instead says, you know what, we're going to pray about it. That child is likely to die as a result of that ignorance.
The selective ignorance is what I think is fascinating here, because the same people that won't get the treatment for cancer or for the measles in this case, I guarantee you they still have iPhones. Well, that takes a little science. They have televisions probably. There's a little science involved in how that works. So for some reason they're selecting this life or death situation that has far more gravity than the little trivial things we all do all day. Now, everything we do all day involves science. Every piece of everything that our clothes were built by machines.
It turns out that those people, they don't use a remote control on their television. They just sit back and the God will decide what I will watch. I'm gonna just sit here and whatever channel appears.
Price is Right ratings.
Oh, Jimmy, to address your point about the measles, yes, if my kids are vaccinated, they don't get measles, and your kids get measles, should I care? Well, I do care, and here's why. Because if half the kids at school have measles now, then school has to be canceled or whatever it may be. It's a disruption in your life. And also...
And even if they're not your kids, you should still worry about them. I mean, these are people that are putting their own children's lives in danger. I mean, we have laws against neglect, right? I mean, I consider this neglect. In Pakistan, for instance, they're seeing more cases of polio as a result of refusing to vaccinate their children. I mean, these are illnesses that we almost eradicated, and now they're coming back as a result of this ignorance. So,
and going back to our prior segment on evolution, sometimes these diseases evolve and they become resistant to the vaccinations, and it causes a real problems. You know, for example, I'm sure you guys are aware, there's a resistant strain of gonorrhea that you can't cure. Because gonorrhea used to be, a very easy cure. It was one of the STDs that you were afraid of because boom, you knock out with a pill. Well, there's a strain that you cannot cure at all. So once you get it, you're stuck with it for life.
Hey, I'm married. I don't know why you keep looking at me when you're talking about this. I'm married, been happily married for 13 years. I'm very happy.